So today we're putting together a new freebie. It's a handy little gift bag featuring a nice little candy cane on the front. It's partially transparent and it goes together pretty quick. We also have some little snowflake embellishments to put on the front as well. So let's just jump right in here, and we're gonna begin by just kind of piecing some things together. Make sure your glue is flowing nicely. We're not doing any inking on this one. So first thing we're going to do is, well, got to put the acetate in place here. And I think the easiest way to do this would be to put the acetate on the back so that we don't have to try to get it perfectly lined up. So the white layer here is the back layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with just a series of little dots. Ultimately, once this is all assembled, you're not going to see this part because it's going to be glued flush to the bag. So I'm just going to go around the perimeter here and just do a series of little dots. We don't need a whole ton of glue, and actually I advise against it because acetate doesn't really absorb glue very well, and you may have, well, it has a tendency to kind of spread that glue and push it all over the place. And we don't want any of that glue to smear out into these little cutouts. Okay, so before you place this down, I would begin at the stem and just make sure that that is as lined up as you can possibly get it. And then just kind of work your way along the little curve there, and just make sure that it is in fact making contact with the little dots of glue that we just put on that layer. And that looks good. Okay, so that's our back layer, and then we've got the glitter layer that we're going to glue on top of that. I've got one little triangle here that didn't pop out. So let's get that in place. Now this one here, I'm going to do a little bit more of a line around the perimeter just to make sure that this holds nicely. And just a couple little swishes in the middle there. Okay, just pop that right on there. You're going to notice that when you get all these little cutouts lined up, that you have a nice even white border going all the way around. So look for that. Make sure that yours looks like that as well. Press that down into place. And there we have it. So we can put this off to the side and let this set nicely. Okay, there we go. And then as far as this guy goes, so it's first time in a while that we're actually using some craft paper. The snowflakes, there are some little markers to help you with the positioning of the snowflakes, and you'll see that there's one that's rather large, one that's a little bit smaller, and then one more that goes up here. And then we also have these snowflakes, and this large one is going to go down here. The middle-sized one is going to go right here, and then the small one is going to go up here. So you literally just need to glue these down. These are pretty delicate, these little pieces here, so be careful. And what I would suggest doing is just using little dots of glue, almost like, not even full dots, just have a little bit of that glue sitting at the tip of the nozzle and just kind of dab at it. And then I would probably also hit that with your finger so that when we place this in place, we don't get a bunch of glue smearing out and blemishing our craft paper here. Okay, I'm kind of jumping around. Doesn't matter what order you do this in, obviously, as long as we get all of our snowflakes in place. Just like that. And just work your way around the design, getting your little snowflakes in place. And then by that time, I think the little candy cane will be all nice and dry, and we can get him in place. Okay, so just go very easy on the glue here. Use those little markers to help you with the placement. If you're off a smidge, it's not the end of the world. They're just kind of there to help you just to help you get them more evenly spaced out so everything looks nice and pleasing to the eye. And again, you don't need a whole lot of glue for this, because each little dab of glue is going to it's going to go a long way in keeping this in place, so don't overdo it. Less is more, and less usually results in a less messy project and a nicer looking one. I think that's why a lot of our dreamers do an amazing job when you guys post your projects in the group. Rarely ever do I see any glue spilling all over the place, so I think you guys are doing a good job with your glue. I mean, even I have my moments, and sometimes the glue bottle can be a little unpredictable, so don't feel bad if you run into any problems. Okay, so there are our snowflakes. Now we'll grab our candy cane, and you can pretty much see where that's going to go. So we want to get our glue on the back of this, and you want to avoid putting any glue in the little cutout areas. We don't want the glue to be visible. Okay, so this glue is going onto the acetate, which is fine. And just do your best to get that lined up with the little cutouts as accurately as possible. And press that down. There we go. Okay, so front of our bag is pretty much done. I think this paper is a little creased right there. That's okay though. Okay, so next up, one thing that we can do real quick. Now we have these two pieces here, and these two pieces are essentially to help reinforce the little handle so it doesn't rip the paper. Now we're using craft paper, so the odds of that happening are far less than if we were using a cardstock, but you just want to put your glue right on the back of that. It doesn't matter. Well, in my case, actually it doesn't even matter if you're using AC cardstock or any textured paper. You're really not going to see that much of it. But we're going to put this down first, and then also on this piece, there are some markers that will help you with the placement of the ribbon, because we're making a little ribbon handle for this. Okay, so we're going to pull the ribbon through, basically butt it up against these little marks. We're going to use a little dab of hot glue, and then we're actually going to cover it up so it looks nice and seamless as well. It's optional, but definitely will make it look nice. And that reminds me, I'm going to get my hot glue gun ready to go, because this project is not going to take very long, and I feel like we're actually almost done here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is going to glue these two sections together to make this all one, so it doesn't really matter which side you start on. Now you can see that I've already pre-folded everything at the score marks. Now we've got this Y fold here, and you just fold it and just kind of play with it until it kind of creases correctly, because ultimately the two tops are going to kind of come in like this, like you would see with a grocery store bag. So just kind of loosen up those fibers a little bit, play with it until it looks right as far as the folding. I'm going to spread this glue out to the very edge of this tab so that everything looks nice and seamless. I'll put this down flat on my surface and match these two sides together. Make sure that it's nice and aligned. Press that into place. Just hold that for a moment while it sets, and then we're going to take this and we're going to fold it onto itself at this seam that we just glued together to make sure that everything is nice and aligned. And judging or based on these tabs here, you can see how they're sitting right on top of each other. That indicates that we've got this nice and aligned. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the other side here and close this up using this tab. Now again, this is craft paper, so it's a little bit thicker than AC cardstock, and it's maybe a little more difficult to work with, but not really. I mean, it may take a little bit longer to dry if you're using craft paper, because the fibers are a lot more tight knit, so to speak, and they maybe don't absorb as quickly as your AC cardstock would. So get that lined up. Just make sure that the teeth up at the top are nice and lined up as well. And you can see that that just does not glue as fast. And you can actually do this flat since this piece is symmetrical. So I'm pressing down right at that seam. Give that a few moments to set. Okay. And fold it over this way. Press that down. You don't want to jump the gun here. There we go. Okay, you can see how that'll fold in like that. Now, I'm going to take these tabs at the bottom, fold them in. We're going to close this up by putting glue on all three of our tabs here. Like so. I'm going to take my finger, spread that glue out to the very edges, and you can tell that this is just not soaking up the glue as fast as standard cardstock, just based on how it kind of feels when you're running your fingers across it. Okay, and I'm going to flare these out just a tad. Don't push down too hard because you got a bunch of teeth down there. You don't want to squish them. So be very gentle when you're closing this up. Just go ahead and match that up with the side opposite of the side that this piece was already hinged at. Okay, and then you can flip this down, put your hand inside, and press down on the tabs there. There we go. Looks good. Cute. Very cute. Okay, and I think, just judging by, well, maybe not. Again, this doesn't set as quickly as your AC cardstock, but my seams look pretty darn good down there. And that's that. Now we have this rectangular piece here. This is a little liner that's going to go on the bottom to reinforce this and make it even stronger. So I'm just going to take some glue and hit the perimeter, kind of like that. You can see it in there. It doesn't have to be pretty because we're going to hide that with this piece right here. Just slide that right in, press down along the perimeter. And now, there we go. You see how nice that looks inside. Nice and sturdy. And next step is, so let's figure out roughly how much ribbon we're going to use here. Okay, so I'm going to just feed it in there a little bit, and then about the size of a hand. Let me unspool that. And we'll go, I'd say about that. Just whatever feels and looks right. I'm going to give that a snip right about here. And we'll pull this out, pop it on our mat. This is why these mats are so handy. Don't even have to get a ruler out, and I can grab another piece and cut it to the exact same length without having to go through too much trouble. Okay. And if it's off a hair, it's not the end of the world. Oops. And I don't think these are my fabric scissors. Oh boy. There we go. That one worked nicely. Okay. All right, so again, I'm gonna feed this through the front. I forgot to put the tag on, even though I was reminded not to forget to do that. So what you're gonna wanna do is when you put the front ribbon in place, you want to make sure that before you glue the other end that you slide the tag over. Okay, so let me get this one glued down, and I'm gonna have to fudge that. Get that one in place. There we go. And then, as I mentioned, this is going to be your front. I'm doing this now because I goofed up. I'm going to slide the tag on here. Slide it through this little slit. Like that. And that's just going to hang off of the tag down towards the bottom. And then you're going to glue that down. Now, I need to I don't want to glue that there because I need to put that on the front. I'm gonna have to redo the front for the photo. But with the tag on, then you're gonna glue this down to close it up. And then that way that tag won't go anywhere. It's permanently part of the project. So I'll probably, when I edit this video, I'll show you the back, but remember to put the tag on the front where the candy cane is. Okay, and then finally, to close it up, put your glue on this piece and just pop it right on top and close that up. Okay, there we go. And then, as I mentioned, in here, there's a little notifier or a little marker to help you kind of give you an idea where to glue this down. I'm just gonna take my hot glue and I'll put just one dot of glue here. And is this not working? No, it's working. I guess it hadn't warmed up yet. Let's see here. Oh, there it goes. Hi there, hot glue. Maybe someday we'll be better friends. Okay, just a dot of hot glue there, and then I'm gonna press that ribbon right down up to that little score mark there. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. It doesn't matter if you go past it slightly, it's not the end of the world. It's just there to kind of help you a little bit. And we'll feed the other ribbon through the front right there. Hit that with a dot of glue and pop that in place. Ow. I burn myself so much with these things. They're so messy. Okay, so you get the idea as far as the handle goes. We're gonna do that on the other side as well. Okay, and then lastly, and this is optional as well, but it does look nicer. We've got this piece here. We're just gonna glue that over the ribbon part, right on top of the piece that we put on there to reinforce it, just to kind of cover it up and make it look nice and polished. You can omit that piece if you want, and then you can omit it, and instead of gluing it, you can always tie it into a knot. Okay, push that down, and you can see how that looks. I'm gonna press down here on the corners as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and visit our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, hit that little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release any of our freebies or paid products, as well as our tutorials. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the 21,000 plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. So head on over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, and you can join that way, or you can type this URL directly into your address bar and it'll take you right there. So hope you guys love all the new Christmas in July projects, and I look forward to crafting with you again.